And so he's calling all these places, all these prep schools, and he's like, okay, now I want to take this test, and they're like, sorry, you're too old. What? And then he's trying to go to these technical schools, anything, and they're like, nope, sorry, you have to have 5 years of work experience and all this stuff. So maybe he's too young. So he's like, I've got to get out of here. I just have no hope. There's no opportunity here. And so that's just part of his story, but it just really made me sad. It really made me sad, and I don't know. Gave him my email. I was like, if you're ever coming to the U.S., I don't know. He wants to learn American English, which is cool. He's like, I don't like that British English. I was like, hey man, do what you got to do. American English sounds better to me too. Went to a Turkish restaurant. Nice people. Lots of them sell alcohol, and at the same time they say halal meat, which is permissible. I don't trust that. I don't feel comfortable eating there. It's not a place with alcohol. I've been to places with alcohol before, non-Muslim restaurants. But don't tell me that your meat is permissible and that you follow Islamic standards and then you sell alcohol at the same time, which is against Islam. It's just too fishy. I don't trust those people. Um, and on the way back and on the way there, I saw two more things that broke some stereotypes for me. So really happy about that. I haven't seen any drunk people in Berlin so far, and lots of people have been telling me, no, these Germans, they know how to keep themselves, so I saw some angry drunks fighting in the street, and in the subway, people were yelling, and so I was like, great, I'm going into different areas in Berlin, and I'm breaking this stereotype, this surah namatiyya that I have in my mind, and I felt really happy about that. It's always good to just see more and then just be like, okay, it's more complex, it's more nuanced than I think it to be. It's one thing to hear statistics and be like, oh yeah, yeah, it's different. But when you're there and you just see these different things and different sides of the same community, um, it's a different feeling. And also the dogs and them being so well trained. I saw dogs barking, crazy dogs. The guy downstairs, apparently, his dog is always barking and always annoying, and so that's good. It broke that stereotype. Lastly, two more issues. Uh, One, so I visited the Free University of Berlin, where I don't know, I may be applying for something, or I may study there. It's a sweet university. It's a sweet university. I mean, seriously, especially for my field. Uh, when I went there, and I remember he told me, he's like, this is a very rich spot, and there's not a lot of immigrants there. There's not a lot of there's a few Muslims there, but not as many as were in that. I mean, just I don't know. Every other person was Turkish or Arab. It was just filled with them. This place was different. I mean, the subway had cameras everywhere and screens to show you that you're being seen. Instead of advertisements, you had you had paintings and old photos of the area. Historic photos. So I was like, yeah, this looks like a richer place. The floor and the streets were that old, brick, or it's like brick. I don't know, downtown Birmingham. If you ever been there, looks like that instead of the asphalt. The university was nice, and I just walked around. I got lost walking around in these neighborhoods, and they were university neighborhoods, really nice houses. Everyone was having like Christmas dinner. You could see the cars parked out, people going in and out. It was a nice walk, and then I found my way, went back. I have a headache, and I'm exhausted. I've been searching for hours for a place to stay in London because I'm leaving in just wow, now it's 12, 19 hours. I'll be leaving the house, here to go to the airport in London. I was looking at hostels. I had a bad experience in DC. I mean, okay, it's this Quaker hostel for peace workers and like travelers. And just great. I mean, one of the most interesting guys there. He started a PhD program at American University that was like about using peace to to end up at peace. And so I was like, just interesting guy, so intelligent, so knowledgeable. We were talking about, I was taking a women's studies class at the time, and so he was telling me about all these activists who are Quakers who aren't usually spoken about in mainstream media. And he's like, but they were there and they did things, and it was great. But, I did not know this. And thank God it was male-only dorms, so you didn't have the mixed business. Um, Go to the bathroom, in the morning, brushing my teeth. I was there for a Middle East Studies Association conference. Brushing my teeth, the guy comes in and he's like, do you mind? And I was like, do I mind? What? I mean, I've lived with roommates before. Go ahead. You want to brush your teeth? There's two sinks. Go ahead. I'm brushing my teeth, and he just, you know, starts using the restroom right next to me. And I was like, oh my God, what are you know? So I'm just like this. I just spit out everything and I'm washing. And another guy just goes into the shower, and they're not wearing, clothes. And so I get out of there and I go to my room. And I was terrified. Uh, it was disturbing. It was a bad experience, and I warn all of you out there who don't know about hostels that they do this. I don't know. My personal views on nudity and what's appropriate and that's not appropriate. It's not appropriate in my opinion for me personally. So I don't want it. Uh, and so I'd have to wake up after the early morning prayer, Fajr, before sunrise, and I would shower and get ready then because they were all asleep. Uh, and one time I kind of was late, and I just locked the door. I didn't care. I locked the door, and there were where the showers and the toilet. There was another bathroom downstairs, but I just locked the door because I want to shower in peace, and I don't want people looking at me. That's none of their business. So when I was looking at hostels, there were only mixed places. I don't feel comfortable sleeping in the same place as females. Personally, I don't feel comfortable. They're just different people. I don't know them. It's just not appropriate for me. So, in the shared bathroom business, I don't know how it's gonna be. I just I was just praying to God, and I was like, Ya Allah, please help me out in this situation. I was looking at hotels. I tried Priceline. I put a ridiculously low price. I'm like, I don't want to have to pay a lot because all my savings right now are for my study. So after this trip, I'm going back to the Middle East and I'm gonna spend money there. Just kept doing it. The phone kept going off, but I was like, I don't know German. I'm not gonna answer it. Finally, my cell phone rang. It was my grandmother from Damascus, and she's like, "Hey, one of your relatives who you called in London said the line went out." I thought it was the end of the conversation, apparently. So she had called L.A., she had called Detroit, she had called Damascus, and she had tried to call Berlin to get in touch with me. And then eventually I just called her up and she's like, "You are not staying in any place but mine. We have an extra room. My son's your age." She's like, "I will not accept you to stay in a hostel or a hotel or anything." Right away she just said that. And I was like, "But," she's like, "No buts. You're coming to stay in my place and here's my address." And I was like, wow. Wow. And that is why I love God so much right now. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. All thanks, all praise due to Allah. And I feel so happy because I got my plane ticket. A relative from another family, other side, distant, um, he was like, "I'm picking you up from the airport. There's no excuse. I'm not going to talk to you." So, God is, uh, God is merciful. God is, Allahu Kareemun, Allahu Kareemun. And so I'm really happy and I can finally go to sleep. I'm just posting this because I had a headache trying to figure it out. I'm just going to go to sleep, sleep a lot, and just get ready for hopefully a wonderful experience in London. Alright, and I've uploaded the videos, the pictures finally to Flickr, so uh, uh, for the past few days I took some really cool artsy ones because the guy I'm staying with is a graphic designer, so that's interesting. Very, very long post, but hopefully it's interesting and you're enjoying seeing how I am. So take care and Assalamu alaikum.